Hi everyone, welcome to the 2024 rules training. My name is Jolly and today we are going to learn about new rules for this year. These updates are important for improving safety and making sure we all follow the latest procedures. We won't be going over all old rules, just what has changed. The main goal is to keep you updated and help you understand the new updates so we all can work safely and correctly. So let's start with the key changes, okay? In the updated 2024 rules, we have added a new term, it's active cab. This refers to the cab of the train that is in a condition where it can respond to traction commands. In other words, it's a cab that is currently controlling the train's movement. This refers to the left-hand track when you are moving from the Belfast yard toward the main line. It is important to be aware of the designation for clear communication and safe operation. Electric Rail Controller is a train employee who ensures trains operate safely and efficiently. They keep trains on schedule and handle any emergencies or service issues that may arise. An employee emergency alarm is a device either in a train cab or handheld radio that allows an employee to quietly alert Electric Rail Controller (ERC) if there is a dangerous situation. It ensures quick and discreet communication during emergencies. A Joint Region of Authority or JRA is an area within the CBTC system where more than one electric rail controller can manage operations. This happens under a spatial control agreement allowing multiple ERCs to work together to ensure safe and efficient train movement. Manual cutout is a degraded mode of train operation that's used when the vehicle's onboard controller needs to be bypassed. In this mode, the train won't communicate with the system. The electric rail controller will need to provide special CBTC protection for the train and the train will be operated manually. The MRA is a command used in a rail system to reserve a specific section of track for manual operation. This means train can move in an area without being automatically controlled by the CBTC system. It's used when we need to operate trains manually instead of automatically. The MRA makes sure that this part of the track is safely set aside for those manual movements, helping us avoid any conflicts with automated operation. In short, the MRA is all about safety and flexibility when we need to handle things manually. This is a backup mode where the train driver manually controls the train instead of the automatic system. It's used when the automatic controls aren't working or need to be turned off, allowing the driver to safely operate the train by hand. This is when we move a train up to 5 meters in one direction for troubleshooting or maintenance. But remember, this can only be done with permission from ERC, Electric Rail Controller, or the person in charge. Okay, let's go over the PPE requirements or personal protective equipments. All employees must wear the required protective gear while on duty, following our rules and policies. It's important to use PPE correctly and not in a way that makes it less effective. Additionally, electric rail operators who are not actively driving must wear safety vests while working. This ensures everyone's safety on the job. Now let's clarify the approved method for accessing platforms. First, platform access. There are specific approved ways for employees to access heavy overhead platforms. It's important that everyone follows this method to ensure safety. Employee access. OC employees must use only the designated pathways to get to the platforms. This means no walking across yard tracks to reach handover platforms during train launch or reduction unless you are specifically instructed to do so by rail superintendent and it is approved by the ERC. If you need to disembark at a location that isn't a designated platform, make sure to follow the proper guidelines. And in special circumstances, if you need to get on or off a train in the yard, it's not at a handover platform, you must contact the ERC for permission and instructions. This helps maintain safety at all times. Let's talk about phonetic alphabets and numbers. We use the phonetic alphabets to ensure clarity, especially when we are communicating uncommon initials or a series of letters like a license plate number. This helps avoid any confusion or misunderstanding over the radio. When we communicate numbers over the radio, it's important to announce each digit individually. For example, instead of saying 23, you would say 23. This makes sure everyone clearly understands the information being shared. Trains are identified by the last two digits of their LRB number. If two trains are coupled together, we identify them by the last two digits of each LRB in the pair. This helps us keep track of trains and their combination accurately. Non-controlled mode. If the radio system fails while rolling stock is in non-controlled mode, the train must move at a restricted speed. Make sure you do not exceed the authorized travel limits. Continue at this restricted speed until radio communication is restored. Controlled mode. So if the failure happens in controlled mode, the train can keep operating as usual. However, the operator should be ready to apply the emergency brake if necessary. This will signal any dangerous situation to the electric rail controller that could impact safe operation. These procedures help maintain safety and control when dealing with the radio system issues. Let's cover the procedures for reviewing yard bulletins before entering yard territory. So, responsibility. Employees must read, understand, and confirm receipt of any relevant operating bulletins. This ensures you are up to date with any important information. Before entering the yard, always check the yard daily operating bulletins before entering the yard, especially if you are going outside of handover platforms and pathways. This helps you stay informed of any specific instructions or changes. Access to bulletins. You can request copies of these operating bulletins if you need updates or changes to operating rules or procedures. Bulletin rules. Note that operating bulletins do not override existing rules unless they specifically state otherwise. Bulletin distribution system. This system lists current active bulletins and outdated ones. So it also provides general information about daily operations through operating communications. But remember, this do not affect safety rules or procedures. Following these steps ensure you are aware of any important changes or updates before working in the yard. Bulletin review. At the beginning of each shift, make sure to check the operating bulletin distribution system for any new bulletins and read any new operating communications since your last shift. This helps you stay informed about the latest updates and changes. Clarification. If you need more information or clarification about any bulletin, it's your responsibility to ask the appropriate authority. Don't hesitate to seek out additional details if needed to ensure you fully understand the instructions. Staying updated and informed at the start of your shift is crucial for safe and effective operations. Let's go over the track authority requirements in CBTC territory. In CBTC controlled areas, you generally need track authority to enter or perform tasks. However, there are exceptions. First, walking beside a train. You can walk beside a train without a cab, but only if authorized by ERC and only on the side away from the tracks. Accessing pocket track platforms. So access to Pocket track platforms is allowed when authorized by an ERC. Emergency response. You can respond to emergency without track authority if ERC gives you permission. Training, testing, or drills. If you need to place an object on a guideway for training or testing without being on foot, it must be approved by the program manager. Rail operations always ensures you have a necessary authorization to perform these activities safely and correctly. CBTC protection. Before issuing track authority, ensure that proper CBTC protection is in place according to procedures. This is crucial for maintaining safety. Emergency access. The ERC must close the track for emergency responders before allowing them to enter the guideway. This ensures the area is safe for emergency work. Adjacent track safety. When working at track level, you must set up a work zone with stop or track closure on adjacent track. This means no work that could interfere with nearby tracks is allowed. If there is any doubt about whether the work might affect another track, you need to close and protect all nearby tracks before starting. Non-adjacent track. So tracks separated by a wall or fence are considered as a non-adjacent tracks and don't need to be protected. Alternative measures. So if CBTC protection isn't available, use another approach method like clamping switches or derailleurs to prevent trains from entering work areas. Make sure these measures are documented and approved by the appropriate authority. Following these guidelines helps ensure safety around track work and emergency situation. Here is what you need to include when issuing a track authority. First, person in charge. Always mention their title and last name. You can use initial if necessary. Second, track limit. Clearly specify the start and end points of the authority. Third, speed restrictions. Include any temporary speed limits due to track conditions that apply within the authority limits. Repeat time. State the time when the track authority begins and make sure to announce this on the radio. Cancellation time. State the time when the track authority ends and this should be announced on the radio. Including all these details ensures clear communications and help maintaining safety and order on the tracks. Here is how to handle track authority records. First, logging. All track authorities issued from a control room must be recorded in an approved system. Second, retention. Keep these records according to relevant policies and procedures to ensure they are available when needed. Third, numbering. CAD system. Authorities issued with the CAD system will get a unique event number. Without CAD, so authorities issued without CAD will use a non-repeating numbers that includes territory code, date, sequential number starting from 001 each day. Example, mainline M150120200001 for February 15, 2020. Yard 150120200001 for January 15. Availability. Ensure that active track authority forms are accessible for reference by a person in charge. Following these procedures help maintain accurate and accessible records for track authorities. Here is how to handle cancel track authorities. First, communication. Track authorities can only be cancelled through communication between the ERC and person in charge of the track authority. Second, ensuring safety. Before cancellation, the person in charge must ensure all personnel and equipment are clear from the authorized limits, or they have informed the ERC about the remaining rolling stock, equipment, or condition within the track authority limits that make the track unsafe. Third, confirmation and cancellation time. Once safety is confirmed, the ERC will provide a cancellation time. Fourth, non-controlled rolling stock. For non-controlled rolling stock within CBTC territory, track authorities can be cancelled when the movement has left CBTC territory and the movement is predicted by the CBTC system. Final confirmation. The ERC will provide the cancellation time only after the person in charge confirms that all personnel and equipment are clear and details of any remaining rolling stock, equipment, or unsafe condition within the limits. Sixth, protection removal. So CBTC protection for the track authority should not be removed until the cancellation time has been acknowledged by the person in charge. 7. Record handling. Cancelled track authorities forms must be marked as X and destroyed at the end of the person in charge shift. 8. Third party cancellation. If the listed person in charge is not available, a track authority can be cancelled by the third party. This must be authorized by the OC Transpo Chief Safety Officer or Manager of Rail Operations. Okay, let's discuss immediate guideway access. So immediate guideway access is a verbal permission from the ERC that allows qualified person to enter the guideway on foot for the task like removing obstacles or checking conditions. Here are the key conditions. First, quick task. The task must be completed quickly to minimize the time spent on the guideway. Second, safety. Ensure that your actions do not make the track unsafe for the train. Third, train safety. So if control train is involved, the operator must secure it from moving before anyone boards or disembarks. Any train within 100 meters of the employee must have its emergency brake applied. Fourth, ERC confirmation. So always get verbal confirmation from the ERC over the radio that it is safe to enter the track. Legions. Stay alert and be prepared to clear the track for the approving trains. Notification. Inform the ERC when you are clear of the guideway or have board a train. These guidelines help ensure the guideway access is handled safely and efficiently. Let's go over work zones. A work zone is a safety measure used to protect workers in CBTC areas. It combines CBTC protection with verbal track authorities from the ERC to ensure workers are safe from unannounced train movements. Here are the key points. First, purpose. So, a work zone allows workers to safely enter and work within CBTC territory as long as the work does not make the guideway unsafe and workers can quickly clear the tracks if needed. CBTC protection. Trains must stop and get permission from the person in charge before entering the work zone. Third, issuing. Before entering a work zone, it must be communicated to the PIC over the radio. Responsibility of the person in charge. Ensure that the work party has all required safety devices. Make sure everyone knows the limit of the work zone. Do not allow train to pass through the work zone until all workers are safely cleared within the minimum distance of 2 meters of the closest rail. Station enough watch persons to alert work party of approaching trains using air horns if necessary. Fifth, adjacent track. If a work zone is needed to protect adjacent track, it will be issued as a separate track authority. Let's discuss line of sight operation. Definition. Line of sight operation allows non-controlled rolling stock to move on certain tracks based on instructions from an ERC. Authorization. The ERC can declare line of sight operation with approval of a TOCC superintendent or YCC team leader for their area. Purpose when declared. The ERC will announce the declaration system wide to all employees. All rolling stock operations must stop and make necessary on-board announcement. The ERC will provide detailed movement instructions for all rolling stocks. This procedure ensures clear communication and safe movement of non-controlled rolling stock on designated tracks. All movements of rolling stock will be governed either by signal indications or by instructions from the applicable ERC or person in charge of an implemented track authority. This ensures that movements are controlled and safe following the established guidelines and instructions. Let's go over traversing switches. So switch alignment. Operators should not cross a switch if they know it is not properly aligned for the intended route. Confirmation. If there is no signal governing the switch, operators must confirm that the switch is correctly aligned before crossing. Changing direction. Rolling stock must not change direction over switch unless the switch is confirmed as a properly aligned and secure by either ERC or a qualified employee on the ground. Let's cover the direction of travel. So, forward driving, electric rail operators should normally drive train forward from the lead cab. For rescue trains, ensure there is a qualified employee in the lead cab. Reverse driving, EROs may drive short distances in reverse, but only in specific situations where safety measures are in place. These situations must be approved and documented by the appropriate authority. Maintainers. Maintainers can drive train in reverse if the front of the train is properly protected and all applicable rules are followed. Here is how to handle the operation of trains through work zone without stopping. Caution. Electric rail operators must pass through work zones carefully. Always be vigilant and watch for workers and equipment near the tracks. Train bell. Operators must ring the train bell when approaching and passing through work zone, even if not stopping. This step helps ensure the presence of workers and equipment is clearly communicated and that safety is maintained in work zone. Here is what you need to know about operating speeds in ATPM. Speed limit. When operating in ATPM means automatic train protected mode, electric rail operators must not exceed the maximum speed shown on the train operator display. Switching modes. Electric rail operators must not switch from ATPM to ATO means automatic train operation while the train is moving unless it is for testing or training purposes. Last, let's discuss SWIP trains. When to operate. On all mainline tracks before daily service starts. Second, directed by the ERCs. After reporters of a trespassers on the track. After TOP is cancelled before normal operation resume. Speed limits. For pre-service SWIP, operate in ATPM mode at maximum speed of 50 km per hour. When passing station platforms, the maximum speed is 40 km per hour. For other SWIP trips, operate in ATPM mode at a restricted speed unless otherwise instructed. Legends. Electric rail operators must closely watch guideway for any unusual or abnormal conditions during swift trips. Reporting. Report the result of swift trips to ERC immediately. Following these procedures ensure that tracks are clear and safe before service and helps address any issues promptly. Regarding rail-borne equipment must not be operated faster than the 40 km per hour or the maximum rated equipment speed. Let's cover reversing movements. So caution, operators of rail-borne equipment must reverse the extreme caution. Ensure you have a clear view of a direction you are moving or be guided by someone who can see. Second, switch direction. Rolling stock must not change direction over a switch unless it has been verified by either ERC or a qualified employee on the ground that can switch it properly lined and secured. Use of CCTV. Operators can use an onboard CCTV video display to help ensure a clear view in the direction of travel while reversing. This practice are crucial for safe and effective reversing operations. Here is how to handle manually exclusive control arrangement. So first one is control setup. Control must be clearly divided between ERCs who have authority over shared regions. Ensure there is no overlap in control areas to avoid confusion. Second, logging and announcing changes. Any changes in control over shared region must be logged in each control room and announced over the radio within a system-wide broadcast. Let's go over the ERC responsibilities with CBTC protection. So first, verify CBTC protection. ERCs must confirm that CBTC protection is properly in place before issuing track authorities, allowing emergency responder to enter the guideway, and approving non-controlled train movements. Second, switch movement within TOP. So ERCs can only move switches within a track occupancy permit with permission from the person in charge or a designated qualified employee. Before moving switches, ERCs must confirm via radio that all personnel and equipment are clear. After moving the switches, ERCs must confirm its position, like number and alignment, over the radio, and the person in charge or their designated person must repeat this information to ensure accuracy. Switch blocking. ERCs must block switches within an active TOP unless they are being moved or if a manual reservation is applied. Fourth one, cancelling CBTC protection. ERCs must not remove CBTC protection from a track authority until the cancellation is confirmed and repeated by the receiving party. Let's discuss qualified and non-qualified employees. So qualified employees. Employees who need to work alone in CBTC areas must be properly trained and qualified, and employees who are not qualified must be worked with the qualified employees. Let's talk about watch person. A watch person must be assigned to warn workers on the track if they might not see approaching trains before they are focused elsewhere. If needed, add more watch person to ensure all train traffic is detected and workers are warned in time to avoid collisions. Watch person should have equipment to communicate clearly with the work crew even in noisy conditions. To ensure safety in the work zone. So no train should pass through the work zone until all personnel are safely away from the area. Workers must be at least 2 meters from the nearest rail where the train will be traveling. And these measures help ensure that the work zone remains safe and free from potential collisions with trains. When working in the Belfast Yard train storage shed and maintenance shop, inform the ERC before using a CBTC stop switch. If you use the stop switch in an emergency, contact the ERC immediately to report it. Okay, levels of OCS power isolation. When working near the OCS power lines, you need to use the correct level of power isolation as per the policies and procedures. The person in charge must request the right level of isolation and make sure it's properly set up. This different level of OCS power isolation are listed in the table provided. These are some sign changes. Please take screenshot of the slide. Okay, here is what you need to know about insufficient guideway access clearance. So, people in guideway must stay at least 2 meters away from the nearest rail of a moving train. Trains cannot pass by people on emergency walkways in the downtown tunnel. And before people can access the Leon and UOT switches, CBTC protection is needed on both tracks. Regarding sequential yard crossovers, so trains should not go through switches 501, 502, 503 and 504 in sequence. Only one crossover can be used at a time through the switches in a single train movement. Thank you all for your attention and participation today. Your understanding of these procedures is crucial for maintaining safe and efficient operations. If you have any question or need further clarification, feel free to reach out and have a great and a safe day. Thank you.